Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about the process, the eligibility, and also the documents that you're going to require in order to actually apply for indefinite leave to remain. Now, for a lot of you that have been following my channel, you already know that on my channel, I have quite a lot of resources already detailing to you guys how you can apply for skilled worker visa, global talent visa, scale-up visa, and also a variety of different other types of visa routes to consider if you're actually looking to relocate to the UK with your loved ones. Now, if you're interested, do make sure you check out this complete playlist here, which is titled How to Relocate to the UK as Permanent Residency and Visa Sponsorship. Okay, in there you will find a jam-packed complete list of all the different videos which will actually help you in making a decision as to what the best visa route is for you and also how you can go about it if you're looking to relocate to the UK. Okay, now first of all, excuse my voice because I am still recovering from a very terrible cold. Okay, so just ignore my voice. But basically what I'm going to be focusing on in this video, guys, is I'm going to be focusing on what the eligibility you need is, what the requirements and what the documentations are in order for you to actually apply for indefinite leave to remain. So obviously a lot of you already know that there are different routes which you can take to actually relocate to the UK and start your journey to becoming a permanent resident here in the UK. Okay, so one of which obviously includes coming through the study route or maybe coming through the skilled worker visa route. Now, when you do actually go through either of those routes or any other type of visa route that's applicable to you, you're usually going to end up having to apply for your indefinite leave to remain. Okay, so when you get your ILR, as they call it for short, you can then become a British citizen. That will be your next step. So essentially, think about becoming a British citizen as being broken down into two parts. Okay, so either you're coming through the study route or you're coming through some kind of working route. Usually that's the skilled worker visa route. Now, once you have done that, that's obviously really maybe part one of your entire journey to becoming a British citizen eventually. Okay, start by talking about the eligibility requirement to apply for indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Eligibility requirements will really depend on what visa route you have chosen to actually come into the UK. Usually, if you have been in the UK on the basis of long-term residence, usually this is about 10 years plus of being resident in the UK, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. There are obviously other visa routes that have their different minimum time requirements that you have to have been in the UK for before you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. Okay, so obviously you could do that through a variety of different other working routes, some of which I have already spoken about in my previous videos. Most of these routes will usually require a minimum residency requirement. Okay, so for example, you know, with a spouse visa, you need to actually have been resident in the UK for at least a minimum of 5 years, as well as meeting other requirements in order for you to actually apply for the ILR. So again, the eligibility for indefinite leave to remain in the UK will very much depend on what visa routes that you are already using to reside in the UK. Generally, if you fall into any one of these four categories that I'm going to mention, you will usually be able to actually apply for indefinite leave to remain. So for instance, the first category is that you have a current working visa under the former points-based system. Also, you might have a current working visa under the new points-based system of the UK. Alternatively, you might be a holder of a dependent visa and any other family visa, or you might also be here and be able to apply on the basis of long-term residency in the UK. So that means you've been here for at least a minimum of 10 years. So guys, in order for you to actually apply for indefinite leave to remain here in the UK, you usually would have had to meet these following criteria that I'm going to list out to you. Okay, so the first is that you need to make sure that you've held your visa continuously for a minimum of at least 5 years, okay, or that you have been in the UK as a resident for 10 years. Next couple of things you're going to need is that you're going to need to show your proof of English. You're going to also need to do your life in the UK test. You're also going to have any particular minimum income requirements if indeed it's applicable for your particular visa route. It's very important for you to know that your indefinite leave to remain here in the UK can actually be revoked from you if you live outside in the UK for more than 2 years. Okay, so please make a note of that. Okay, so be careful if you are looking to actually go back to your native country or travel abroad somewhere else and be out there for an extended period of time. You need to pay attention to the time period that is actually allowable for you to be out of the UK, because it can actually affect your indefinite leave to remain when it comes to that time to apply. How then do you go about actually applying for your indefinite leave to remain? Now, the most common way a lot of people actually make the application for their indefinite leave to remain is by doing so online. Okay, so you usually would have to make your application for ILR online when it comes to that time. You need to make sure that you use the correct application form when you're applying online. Okay, also please make sure you have all the information on your application form as accurate as possible. You would also usually be required to pay an application fee in order for you to apply. It's important to know that you don't actually get a refund if your application is refused. Okay, so it's important that when you're making this application, you try and get it right the first time. Okay, so generally when you're applying for your indefinite leave to remain, there are a couple of documents that you're going to need to provide. It's important to realize that this list is not an exhaustive list, and the documentation you're going to need to provide will very much vary depending on the particular visa type. Okay, but in general, the kind of documents you usually need to provide will include proof of your passport. You'll also need to provide evidence of any current leave to remain, okay, i.e. obviously your current visa. You also need to show any proof of absences from the UK and pay slips from your employer to prove that you actually meet the minimum income requirements. And last but not least, you need to show that you have proof that you've actually done the English language test and you've also done the Life in the UK test. If you need more resources regarding how to relocate to the UK, how to start your journey, what companies you need to be thinking of applying to, how to find UK sponsors and all of that, then do make sure you watch this list of videos here, because I have listed every single thing you need to know in these videos. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't done so already, please do make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and tap the notification bell. I'll see you in my next video.